Hello everyone, and thanks very much for all the support with all of my videos. I'm very grateful. Today I want to speak about the big news that broke in Ireland about the 13 billion euro Apple case that's been going on for the last 8 years. Absolutely insane, but demonstrates today the ruling from the European Court of Justice that Ireland have to be paid the 13 billion in taxes from Apple based on 104 billion euros worth of profits because they did a sweetheart backroom deal with the big multinational that Apple is, and this has brought the ire of the European Union. Now, it is vitally important. We've seen that Ireland has been a complete corporate tax haven for many years. The effective rate of taxation is well below the headline rate of 12.5%, and we know that Ireland is wide open to the global recessions, global downturns because of the flood of international capital and the multinationals into Ireland rather than building a real strong domestic economy. Now, the response has been from the political establishment unsurprising because they've turned around and said that this could be damaging to Ireland's reputation and it could cause serious problems for anybody who wants to invest in the future in Ireland. Isn't this remarkable? But it's not really surprising when you consider that the Irish establishment, political establishment, every single time represents the interests of the big corporations rather than ordinary people. And if you consider the millions of euro that have been spent in our public money to fight this case through the European Union as well. And as I've said, the European Court of Justice have found that Ireland were in breaches of state aid, given special deals to Apple. And in particular, when you consider the amount of businesses that have hit the wall over the last number of years. Since COVID and with the lockdowns, the small businesses are under serious pressure, more and more still closing because of fallout of the lockdowns and then the subsequent cost of living disaster and the Ukraine war as well, and the profiteering from the energy crisis, which of course has a huge significant impact on ordinary people and businesses as well, with their livelihoods depend on. And of course, that 13 billion euro, rather than contest it and spend millions of our money contesting this, they could have helped work towards solving the housing disaster. Probably 40 to 50,000 houses could have been built with that. And not to mention, it takes about €750 million to take the 230,000 children out of deprivation in Ireland that I spoke about in a previous video last week. And also, not to mention the amount of children's hospitals that can be built, even on the projected sky-high astronomical figures of 2.25 billion. It could be at least 6 children's hospitals could be built on that basis as well. And it also demonstrates, as I said, that they support the corporations every single time. And as I said, Ireland is a tax haven. You have to look at the IFSC to see how it operates in terms of the huge amount of financial transactions that are put through there every day. A lot of brass pay companies that find their offices in the IFSC down in the city centre, and also the impacts that would have because of lack of redistribution of that wealth towards better public and social services that we so vitally rely on. But it's important to note the European Union in this judgment, because the European Union and the European Commission haven't been the saviours. We've seen the Irish government cede more of our sovereignty towards the European Commission. And this is about the European Commission sort of getting their own back to try and build towards the better single market. And this is what it's all about. It's all about harmonising tax rates. And in fairness to the Irish governments, they try to do their own shady deals, much that I disagree with, but it's vitally important that countries should be in charge of their policies of their state, whether it's taxation policies, whether it's capital controls, or whether it's proper strategies around building real and domestic strong economies. And this flies in the face of the European Union to a massive extent as well, because the Irish government, as we know, and successive governments have been bowing down to the masters in big business, their masters in the big corporations like Apple, and doing these deals. And they've done many of them through the so-called double Irish and all these Section 110s and various loopholes. All legal, of course, facilitated by the Irish political establishment, facilitated by previous governments and this current incumbent, and obviously ably abetted by a lot of these big tax accountants all around Dublin City. You can see them everywhere, KPMG, Arthur Cox, and many, many more. But again, as I've said, these tax arrangements fly in the face of the European Commission, who are trying to centralise more control. And it's very important to note that a lot of other countries are probably trying to put their dibs in to get a few bob back off the money that was subject to this ruling, the 13 billion that's been in an escrow account. Currently, I've heard reports that it could be less than 14 billion now it's worth. And we'll see what happens now, how this develops over the next period of time, because it is a ruling. So we'll see what happens when the Irish government, and many more bike sheds will they probably build with this. Probably, current estimations, probably thousands and thousands of bike sheds based on their €336,000 they spent on the bike shed in Dáil Éireann. Absolutely disgraceful, but shows you how out of touch these political establishment are. And they'll be subject to fines from the European Union as well on the basis of this. And who'll pay for that? Ordinary people. Like, ordinary people paid and carried the can because of taking this case, because of the €13 billion, and also because the European Commission are not really helping us, because they're looking at it to ensure that all these tax arrangements do not harm competition across the single market. This comes in the context of Mario Draghi yesterday, the former head of the European Central Bank, famous of course in Ireland because of the devastation that they caused because of the bailout and austerity as well. He spoke yesterday in a report to Ursula von der Leyen, the head of the European Commission, president of the European Commission, who also said that they were looking at sharing debt, which will boost the competitiveness of the European single market to compete against the US, which they're a vassal state of anyway, and to China. And also said no countries will have veto to Eurobonds, not to mention the common defence spending and all the other elements they're trying to push. So this is what's really it's all about. It's all about benefiting the rich, the single market. The capital has no bounds and can travel anywhere to maximise its profits. We see that in Ireland through the vulture funds. And also, this is what the European Union neoliberal project is all about. Rather than serving the interests of ordinary people and providing better social and public services, it's about privatisation, deregulation, liberalisation of the market, rather than having so much better public services for people in terms of a home, decent health service, education, and less people being driven into poverty, driving further inequality, while the rich as society keep getting richer. So thanks for the support on all my videos, really appreciate them. Thanks to everybody who supports me kindly through buying me a coffee. I'm very, very grateful to everybody who kindly does for the support my work through my videos. And also thanks for everybody who keeps pressing subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. So please share them, like, comment and press subscribe. So from Dublin, take care. Slán.